Hey there, guys. Professor Bates. Man, we are just about done. It's crazy. I'm recording this on Monday, October 7th. And mainly, I want to talk about your last essay that's due tonight before midnight, Monday the 7th. This is the Toolman version. And, you know, I know some of the terms are kind of confusing sometimes when it comes to the Toolman argument, but basically what you're doing is you're taking that first essay that you wrote, your classical essay, you're doing a little more research, you're going to get a little bit more detailed on some of the support items, and you're also going to take into account something called a warrant, which is just a universally accepted concept that most people know, but could affect how the argument of your essay is accepted. Um, and this is really the last big assignment before we're finished. I would say finish strong, get this essay turned in. Don't let it be late. Give me something to grade. And there's a couple of small assignments here at the very end of the semester. You're going to review and think about some of the other stuff you've done and do a forum and then make some comments on what your fellow students have said. And then there's a little quiz too. But by far, this Toolman essay is the most important thing. Let me see if I can show you something real quick here. Okay. Yeah, I want to share my screen, entire screen, I think. Oh, goodness. Just never easy, is it? Let's see if this is what I'm thinking of. It's okay. It says I'm screen sharing. Yay. All right, let's see if that's true. Um, wanted to show you a little something from Purdue Owl, if I can get to it. All right, there we go. So this is basically talking about the Toolman method. It's developed by a guy named Stephen Toolman, but it basically breaks down into six components: the claim, your thesis; the grounds, which is the support for your thesis; a warrant, which is something that's maybe stated or not stated that most people believe, that kind of links the grounds to the claim. We also have a qualifier, which you're going to have to qualify your thesis statement a little bit, not make it so broad. You'll also have to address the opposite side of your argument and provide a little more backing on why your method is preferable. A diagram would look something like this. The grounds is that proof that you're using to support your claim, but you're going to have to also talk about a warrant, which again is something that people might think about your grounds or your claim. Here's just a real basic example. Your claim is that there are dogs nearby. All right, what's your proof for that? What's your grounds? Well, you hear barking and howling. And we know, or that dogs and animals, dogs bark and they howl. So that would kind of link the idea that if you hear barking and howling somewhere close by, that there must be dogs nearby. That's kind of an example of how grounds, warrant, and claim work together. Now, how about a more academic example? Your claim is that additional research on computer-mediated communication needs to be conducted to better understand how online interactions affect relationships. All right, what's your grounds for that? Well, there was a study by somebody called Cummings who discussed how email communications are inferior as a means of maintaining personal relationships. However, their study did not account for technology, demographic, or modality limitations. What's the warrant that we assume about these computer-related communications? Well, when a paper lacks a certain perspective, more research would be beneficial to prove its claim. In other words, this may not be good grounds. This paper by Cummings might not be comprehensive enough. And so in this case, the warrant might dictate that you find a different source. Again, backing just refers to any additional support for a warrant. In many cases, the warrant's implied, and therefore the backing provides support for the warrant by giving a specific example. A qualifier is just that thing that limits your claim, presumably, some, many. Rebuttal just means you acknowledge there is another side to the argument, and it may be somewhat valid, but it helps to build your credibility when you don't ignore the other side. It's a little more complicated diagram here, showing that this dogs thing that we talked about, the claim that there are dogs nearby, and the grounds is you hear barking and howling. You're also going to qualify that, so that you say, well, it most likely is, or chances are it is, that dogs are nearby. Warrant being that dogs are animals that bark and howl. And you also may base that on the backing for the warrant that your next door neighbor is a guy named Tom, and he has 2 German Shepherds. So that makes that warrant even more powerful by giving it that backing. Again, I don't think that you need to get too wrapped up in the details. Just look at the examples. There's a couple of examples of a Toolman argument in your book. There is one in Moodle about police brutality. I'm not sure it's the greatest example. One thing I wouldn't do in terms of following that police brutality essay is it kind of does what we call telegraphing. It says, well, the grounds are this, and the warrant is this. I don't think you necessarily need to be that obvious. That is probably just an example to show you what were the grounds and what were the warrants. But I wouldn't write that way in your final essay. Guys, it has been a pleasure having you in my online class. I wish you all success. I'll be turning in grades this weekend, and we'll be moving on to another half semester. And, if you're taking another class during the late semester of the fall of 24, I wish you good luck with that. And thanks for being in my class. We'll talk to you later.